Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So we shall continue with our Sufi world's lecture. Now the third part. I shall begin with talking about the certainty of knowledge that bring about certainty of sight, as stated in the Quran. You can see here. Nay, were ye to know with certainty of knowledge, you shall certainly see hellfire. Again, you shall see it with certainty of sight. So what is the certainty of knowledge and certainty of sight? This, if you can understand this, you can turn everywhere you turn, you can see the present, the divine present, omnipresent. If you understand, you have the certainty of knowledge, you have certainty of sight. Everywhere you turn, you see divine omnipresence everywhere. But you must have certainty of sight before you get the certainty of knowledge. So what is certainty of sight? Let me explain. If you look at rice, that these are the staple food for the Southeast Asians population, rice. The rice comes from grain, called green rice or white grain, the grains. So the rice comes from the white grains, and the grains come from the paddy, and the paddy comes from the paddy plant. This is knowledge, certainty of knowledge. All of us here in Southeast Asia will know this. You see rice, you know it's from the white grain, from the paddy, and from paddy plant. It's certainty of knowledge. Now, if you have this certainty of knowledge, you need only to look at the rice. Because of the certainty of knowledge, you can see virtually the paddy field or the paddy plant. Without looking at the grain or the paddy, straight away you can see virtually the paddy field before you. And this is what we call certainty of knowledge that brings to certainty of sight. Okay? So look at this. You see the heel. You see the face, that is the form. The form is created from the rock. And the rock is part of the heel. And the heel is part of the mountain. Okay, again, the face, you see the form, is part of the rock part of the heel, and the heel is part of the mountain. You have this knowledge, you see the form or the face, you know it is part of the mountain, because you have certainty of knowledge. Therefore, you have certainty of vision. Okay. So, coming back to divinity, at the beginning, there is Allah. Nothing was with him. He's alone, Allah. I confess to our God alone that has not had beginning nor shall ever have end. This Jesus in Gospel Barnabas. I confess to our God alone that has not had beginning nor shall ever have end. He is the creator of the heaven and the earth, and when he wills a thing to be, he merely say be, and there it is. So if he's alone, when he say be, to whom? And that we had discussed the last time. So when he said be, we have discussed it is to himself, because there is no other present except him. So the command is to himself, be. And subtly is the subtle. Subtly an appearance image. And that is the light. Allah is the light of the heaven and the earth. His light is like a niche. An appearance, a niche appear. So among the void, the darkness, Allah only exists. you can see suddenly there is a light. I think in the Bible they say, let there be light. And then the container appear. It's same, the Quran also. Okay? Suddenly, when he commanded be to himself, then this container appear subtly. That's why he is the subtle. Subtly, the container appear. So this is that's why he say, wherever you turn, there is Allah's container. We can see this later, we can understand this better later. I just put it in first, the container. From this container, it manifested, I remember this, the different manifestation and the emergence of the container. The container is part of God. It's part of God. It's not manifestation. It's like the tail of an elephant and the elephant. It's part of it. And the container is part of God. It's not manifestation. But from the container, it manifested into the essence. And this is the first creation. The first creation, it can also be the obligatory creation. Because from this essence of the obligatory creation comes the non-obligatory or probable creations. So when you say be, there's a container appear. From the container, it manifested into essence, the first creation. And that's why I say you, the essence, the obligatory existence, or the first existence, are the origin and the end of all creation, the probable existence, obligatory existence or creation. Then the others that emerge from it are the probable existence, or probable creations. So from the essence become the form of creation. So remember the rice, the grain, the paddy field. Allah, the container, the essence, then the creation. Same step. And according to Professor Ramadan, he said, it is of certainty without any doubt at all that all creation of probable existence come from the obligatory existence. Yeah? Come from the essence. And that is called wajibul wujud in Arabic. Wajibul means obligatory, wujud means present or existence. So everything, all the probable creation, we are all probable creations. Everything else are probable existence, except the essence, which is the original creation or the first creation. And for this obligatory or first creation come the probable creation. There's all other creations. Okay, that's why it's of certainty without any doubt at all that all creation, all probable creations, come from the obligatory existence or the essence. That's that's why the essence is called wajibul wujud, the obligatory existence. From this obligatory existence manifested into the probable existence, that is the other creations. The other creation, the main creation is the essence, which is a wajibul wujud or the obligatory existence. And from the obligatory existence manifested the other creation, which are called probable existence. So we can see here the creation, you can see bottom of the diagram or the illustration. Creations come from the essence, and the essence come from the container. You can see. So the creation is the form. We call it sifat. Essence is a secondary source, hakikat, and container is a primary source, marifat. And remember, always know the container is a part of God. Part of God. It's like the tail of an elephant with the elephant. Part. So once you have this knowledge, certainty of knowledge, right? You have this certainty of knowledge. You look at creation, you know that behind it is the content, without a need to look at the essence. Straight away you can see. Everywhere you turn, you see creation. See creations, space or time or whatever creations. You know there's the essence, and behind the essence is the container, is part of God. So everywhere you turn, there's me. You understand? Whether space, whether place, or whatever form you see, behind it is the essence, that is hakikat, secondary existence. Then you know from there is a primary existence, the marifat, which is the container. So everywhere you turn, you should know, because you have the knowledge. So if a child say, how do I see God or Father? All I see are wood, trees, stone. It's a sun. These are the forms. If you have knowledge behind the form, there is the essence. That is the wajibul wujud, the obligatory existence, where all these forms that you see come from, manifested. And this behind the essence, there is the content of God. And therefore, when you see the form, you can straight away, you know, it's your knowledge, certainty of knowledge. The existence, you can see the existence. You know the existence of the container behind all this form. So therefore, you say, everywhere you turn, there is now my container. Everywhere you turn, there is my container. Everything annihilated, there is my container. Again, everywhere you turn, there is my container. With this knowledge, everything annihilated, there is my container. Because I'm eternal. So you can annihilate the form, annihilate the essence, that remains will be the container which is part of God, and that is eternal. So with this knowledge, everywhere you turn, oh my God, you cannot hide from him. Because it's a certainty of knowledge. You know behind all this is him, is container, is part of him. Okay? So that's why he says, with certainty of knowledge, you will have certainty of sight. Even hell you can see. You have certainty of knowledge. So wherever you turn, there is Allah. And this is what makes people broke down. Many of us broke down because of this. You never realize, though. You never realize that he's there. He's there watching you. This is as if it's a one-sided mirror, you know. You can't look at him, but he's looking at you. But with your knowledge that is a one-sided mirror, you know he's on the other side looking at you. And that's what makes us broke down. Really. And that changed our life. Become holistic, totally changed. Once we knew that, you cannot escape. Okay, so, and that's why we know he's looking at us. And we also know that we are looking at him, because all these are like a one-sided mirror. And that is the station of Ehsan. Ehsan. What is Ehsan? You perform your salat as if you are seeing him. If not, then know that he's seeing you. So Ehsan is basically a person who knows that God is looking at him wherever he turns. At the same time, he knows that he's looking at God. It's Ehsan. And therefore, we come further into his divinity, the first and the last. You can see there's Allah. At the beginning, He's alone. Nothing was with Him. Okay. Then come the continent. That's part of Him. So the continent is the first, because after the continent is the first existence, is the essence. Before the essence is the continent. The continent, so He's the first. The continent is part of Allah, part of God. From this come the essence. So before the essence, He's the first. The continent is part of God. He's the first. Then come the essence. Okay? So from Allah come the essence. So He's the first. Okay? He is the first. From the essence come the creation. So the continent emerge a shape of a continent, then from there manifested become essence. Essence manifested become creation. Okay? So we see He's the first. The continent is the first to appear. Then after that, the essence and the creation. So and so we also know that at the end, when everything obliterated, creation obliterated, essence obliterated, that remain will be the essence. The continent which is part of God, which is eternal. Okay, so I'm the last. Everything will be destroyed, save my continent. So you can see here, the creation destroyed, the essence destroyed, come back to the continent which is part of Allah, which you can't destroy. That is part of His part. So omnipresent, eternal. It's like the tail of the elephant. It's the whole elephant, including the tail. You can't destroy the tail. Okay? So the continent is part of God. So if you look to this example, the ice comes from water. The water is first. When the ice melted, become water again. The water is last. So the water is the first and the last. So the creations, whether it's the essence or the essence, the obligatory existence, or the other creation which are probable existence, they come from the continent. The continent is first. And when they are obliterated, they come back to be the continent again. The continent is the last. So we can see He had no beginning, nor will He ever have an end. But to everything He had given a beginning, and to everything shall He give an end. So inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. From Allah we come, and to Him we return. So every existence, whether probable or obligatory, come from the continent which is part of Allah, and shall return back to the continent. That is the first and the last. Then we come the next one, the manifest and the hidden. You can see the continent, from the continent manifested become the essence. From the essence manifested become the creation. So the continent is hidden. So He's the hidden, and the manifestation come from Him. So He's the manifest, and He's the hidden. See? You see the essence, the creation all manifested from the continent. So He's the manifest, He's the hidden. So when you see the manifest, the creation, all this creation, you know there's the essence. Also, there is a manifest. And then you know behind it is the container. I'm the manifest, I'm the hidden. You see? And this is because of the certainty of knowledge. It's the manifest and the hidden. So we see example, you see cloth. Okay? It's a manifest of the thread, all from thread. And the thread comes from the cotton, which is hidden. Okay? So similarly here, whether the essence, obligatory existence, or wajibul wujud, come the probable existence or the they call it mungkinul wujud, come from the container that is part of God. So this essence as well as the creations are manifestation from the container of God. And the container of God hide behind the manifestation is the hidden. Okay? It's like looking at the iceberg on the ocean. The iceberg is a form. Inside the iceberg is the water. And that water comes from the ocean. The iceberg is floating on the ocean. Same. The creation is like the iceberg, the form. The water in the iceberg is like the essence. And the essence comes from the container. And the water comes from the ocean. And so, if you see the iceberg, you can see the ocean virtually. Similarly, if you see the creation, you know with certainty the omnipresence of the essence. And that's why the Sufis say, if you dissect a drop of water, you can see the ocean. You dissect a drop of water, you can see the ocean. And that is what it means. So behind the manifestation, there is the container. So he's the manifest. So I've taught you he's the first and he's the last. He's the manifest and he's the hidden. Now he's the greatest, the infinite, and the most high. Now you can see Allah, and you can see the small dot there. The creation is a small dot. There. Small dot. That is the creation. Okay? That is the manifestation of the omnipresent, this container to essence to create a small dot. Jesus say not bigger than a grain of rice, a grain of sand. Science say lesser than an atom. All this creation, no? You put in space, time, everything, all the creation, the space, the planet, whatever, put into one is not bigger than a grain of sand to God. That's what Jesus said. Or a drop of water from the ocean. And the prophet say, it's like a linseed, or like a full moon and a dark night, but Allah is bigger than that, very small. And the Quran say subtle. That means very, very small, very, very subtle, small. Niche is a niche, small. So if that is the size of everything that exists comparatively to God, oh my God, for sure is very great, very big, great. For sure he's infinite, vast, very. For sure he's most high. You can't measure. If your children say, oh, Father, if I can see the sun, which is very big, why I can't see God, who is greater than the sun? Because everything put together is just lesser than a grain of rice to him, a grain of sand to him. Very small. All this put together. That's why you can't see him. Okay? And we can see the sky, Father, so high. Why we can't see him? You can say, oh, grandson, you put everything together, all the existence, including space and time, is lesser than a grain of sand to God. And how vast and how high he is. Why we can see the ocean so vast, oh grandpa? Why we can see God? It's infinite. You know? You can see you put everything together. All that exists in space and time is just a minute thing, not bigger than sand to God. And therefore, Jesus said, God is so immeasurable that I tremble to describe it. You can't. It's too great, too infinite, too vast. How to, we can. I'm in Singapore. I can see Washington in America. How to see him? And that we consider very far. I'm in Singapore to see something in Washington far. And you put all together, it's lesser than a grain of sand to God. How are you to see him? It's like an iceberg. Want to see the vast ocean. Cannot be. Right? So that's why Jesus said, God is so immeasurable that I tremble to describe him. So that is how he is great, infinite, vast, and high. Okay? How he sees, let's say, the worm in the soil, the fish in the sea, animals in the forest, human being among the cosmopolitan in the world, the bird flying and those in the sky. How does he see all this 24 hours? How does he hear all this creation talking? See? I'm talking, somebody else talking, somewhere else, somebody else talking. The animals also talk, the bird also talk, the bees also talk. How did he see or know? Okay? Well, because it's all knowing, all seeing, all hearing. You see? Because we know that you look at the creation, that is the form. Behind the creation is the essence. That's again the manifestation. Behind the essence, that is his containment, encompassing all. Encompassing all. So science say creation are created from atom, which get together, and form the creation. But the atom is also encompassed by the container. How to escape? So behind us, you look at us, behind us, there's the essence. And behind the essence, there's a container looking. So we and all others are just like a one-way mirror, not one-sided, but one-way mirror. Cannot escape. You see, creation, behind the creation is the essence. Behind the essence, the container is part of God. And he's looking at the creation at any time, all the time looking. So whatever you talk, whatever you do, he knows, he sees, he hears, because his container is behind every creation. So you see, wherever you turn, there's his container, because he encompasses all. Yeah. So you see, the creation, behind the creation is the essence, and behind the essence is Allah's container. Okay. If you are in the room, sewing or whatever you do, behind that room is there's the obligatory existence. And behind it again is him, his container. If you in the sea, same. Behind the sea is his essence. And behind the essence is his container. So the essence is the manifestation, the sea is the manifestation, the real one is there behind, his container, eternal. If you, even in the hide in the cave of ice, behind the ice is the essence. And behind the essence is the container, which is eternal. Therefore, you can see the essence is just like a one-way mirror, one-sided mirror, one-way mirror. Out in the space also, behind the space is the essence. Behind the essence is a container. If you in the cave, same thing. You cannot hide. If you are even sitting in the park, still behind the park, the existence of park is the essence. And behind the essence is the container. And even in yourself, ourselves, is the essence. And behind the essence is the container. Therefore, whatever we whisper in our heart, he knows. Because the container encompasses all. See, the container, the essence, and then the form, atom, biomolecules, organelles, cells, and 50 trillion cells become man. See, container, essence, atom, cell. Behind the essence, behind the atom, the essence. And behind the essence is the container. So verily Allah is subtle, aware, or verily He encompasses all. Cannot hide. So if you look at his diagram, you can see behind the creation, the essence. Behind the essence is the container. So the whole container is part of Allah. Okay? So it's like one-sided mirror, right? One-way mirror, one-sided mirror. The essence is just a one-sided mirror. From the other side is looking at you. Okay? If you're aware of this, that's what makes us broke down and really shiver when we learn of this. Okay? So, and He knows what is on the land and in the sea, and not a leaf fall, but that He knows it. Sure, He knows it. Because He encompasses all, like this leaf fall. Behind that leaf, or the tree, or the space, the essence. And behind that is Him, His container. Okay? Therefore, He knows. Okay? So He's all knowing, all seeing, all hearing. You know, okay. Even you whisper anything in your heart, He knows, because behind us is the essence. Behind the essence is the container. Okay? And you can see the miracles done by the prophets. You see the prophet Saleh, his Ummah, his people want him to show proof that he's a prophet, to bring out a live camel from the stone. Okay? And true enough, he brought out a camel from the stone. But how does he do it? Because God approved it, and behind the stone is the essence. And behind the essence is the container. So when God said to the essence, be you, change the form to camel, it become camel. Oh, my people, this is she camel of Allah, is a sign for you. So the camel was created from a stone, right? How come in a stone got a live camel? Because the essence is in there. And behind the essence is the container, is Him. So He gave direction to the essence, be you camel, it become camel. Similar, so you have the camel. Okay. So from stone, the essence changed the form to camel. Okay. Similarly, God says to the Jews who broke the Sabbath law, you are already aware of those who broke the Sabbath. We said to them, be disgraced apes. So you see, the Jews suddenly become apes. How is it possible? Because behind the Jew is the essence. Behind the essence is the container of God. So when he say, be you, Essen, become an apes instead of man, and he become apes. Okay. So similarly, how the Red Sea was parted when Moses knocked the water with his stick, and the water parted, and his people can cross. And when the Pharaohs and his men come running in, the water come down and drown them. How is it possible that he knocked with a stick, the water parted? See? Because behind the water is the essence. And behind the essence is the container of God. So thereupon we inspired Moses, thus strike the sea with thy staff, whereupon it parted, and each part appeared like a mountain vast. So let's recapitulate what we have lectured. So you must have the certainty of knowledge. That is when you see everything that exists, including the space before you. Okay, the empty space, supposedly empty space. You know behind this is the essence, that is secondary existence. And behind the secondary existence, that is him. The container is part of him, is him. Lurking behind, watching. So wherever you turn, whichever direction you turn, there is him. Watching you, hearing, all the time. You cannot escape. And that makes people, when realize this, when that knowledge sank into him, for the first time in his life, he realized that, oh my God, you are watching me now. And that brings shivers to him. And he broke down and cried. Most of us will cry because in the Quran it says, when you see the truth, the tears will fall from your eyes. And you will say, oh God, write my name among those who have witnessed the truth, the Quran. So if this knowledge, understanding, if it inspired you, that you, the impact, to know that when you turn around, whatever you look at, you know this is a one-sided mirror. Behind is him looking at it. And you know you cannot escape. And you know how much sin you have done, was not aware that it was looking. And we really cried. We changed for the better. You cannot escape. And this is the impact of knowledge of God, or Ma'rifatullah, that make a person holistic, total change, and become humble, God-fearing, and very, we can say, harmless, likable by all. Because now, even how fierce you are, once you understood this knowledge, you look at your wife, if you are a wife abuser, or you always whack your children without mercy. This time you look at them, you dare not touch them. Because you can see behind them the presence of the omnipresent. You won't touch them. And you change. And the first people who notice the change will be those around you. They will say, hey, look, Father become different now. No more having anger management. No more narcissistic. No more boisterous, whatnot. It's now more humble, more quiet, more inclined to worship God every day and night. That is the impact that everybody looking for. And that impact will be a scar in your life. And that scar will remain with you. That always will make you holistic, will not want to be like you before. And you become likable by everyone. Last time they say, some people bring happiness when they come. Some people bring happiness when they go. That was you last time. And now different. They love you very much. The impact, what is the impact that caused this is that you realize everywhere you turn, he's looking at you. This is a one-sided mirror. Behind the creation is the essence, when the essence is the omnipresent. You cannot escape. And that bring about a total change, holistically. Now you can see with your inner eyes, you can say inner eyes, with the knowledge, the certainty of knowledge, you can see with certainty of vision, is omnipresent. And what did Imam Ghazali say? Allah is so, the presence of Allah is crystal clear, but you need the knowledge of God. And this is the knowledge of God. That you see for the first time in your life, and many of those who understood this well, who have reached 80 years of age or more, say, oh my God, I'm thankful I have this, even at this late stage of my age. You know, I change, become totally holistic. Okay. It can't be helped. We had people say, oh, Ustadz, my father was one time having a lot of anger management and always abused us and our mother. But now he's very gentle, very caring, soft-spoken, and inclined to worship. There's a change. And that is what we'll see later next week. That the knowledge of God is inspired to you through consciousness, your conscience. You consciously, you feel his existence. Consciously, you can as if see his existence. That is the essence. Consciously, you know you cannot run away from. And that consciousness bring you down to earth and become a holistic person. And that is the impact of knowledge of God. Knowledge of God. So, my dear companion, let this knowledge sink into you, that wherever you turn, you can escape from him looking at you. All these things that you see are facade, the one-way mirror. And on the other side, it's looking at you, omnipresent. Whatever you do, whatever you say in your heart, and that is why the Quran say, everywhere you turn, they are my signs. Even in yourself, they are my signs. We see this in greater detail next week, because I'm teaching you slowly, step by step, not too fast. Okay? So this today, there's many things you have learned. He's the first, he's the last, he's the manifest, and he's the hidden. Basically, many of the Sharia people have problem with the manifest. They can only see the facade. And they say, I see the facade, these are not Allah. Because they don't have the certainty of knowledge. You have. You are not like the Sharia people who see with their two eyes and they have no knowledge. But you have the certainty of knowledge now. When you look at the creation, you know these are like one-sided mirror. Behind is the omnipresent, looking at you. So the manifest, I'm the manifest. This creation are manifest from him. You see, if you see the ice, you know it's water 100%. So you see creation, you know 100%. These are from the omnipresent. There's no two entity but one. You see the water, you see the ice is but water. So once you see the manifest, you know that is the container. In manifestation, the container is hidden. But these are the manifestation of the container. The container is part of God. You know, it's just a tail of elephant with an elephant. It's not separated. So when you have this knowledge, wherever you turn, you see this manifestation. You know behind it is the omnipresent. It's just like when you see ice everywhere, you know behind it is the water. And you know it is from the ocean. Okay? So everywhere you turn, you see the ice floating on the sea. You know when you see the ice, there is the water and the ocean. So same, when you see the existence of all before you, these are the manifestation of the omnipresent, the container. So once you realize this, wherever you turn, there is my container. Everything annihilated, you can mentally annihilate this existence because you have the certainty of knowledge and you come to the certainty of vision, the existence of the omnipresent. Even though you can't see with your two eyes, but you know for certainty, the certainty of knowledge, there is the omnipresent. Without saying, understood, omnipresent, the eternal. So it's everywhere. The omnipresent encompasses everything. The soil, the river, the sea, the ocean, the sky, the land, everything encompasses, subtly encompasses. You cannot escape. So the three companions who did not go to war with the prophets, when the prophet come back, they knew they had made a mistake and they shivered. And the Quran says they knew that they cannot escape from God and they felt that the world, the vast world, is so constrained, so restricted, and their heart also become constrained. Why? They knew they cannot escape from the omnipresent. So this understanding, I hope it sink into you. And you can see you change for the better. Totally different person. Because you knew you can't harm anybody. Behind all this, his essence. So one of our companion, after he understood this, he said, "Oh, Ustadz," he said, "I'm fearful to walk on the ground." I said, "Why?" Because the ground is a facade. Behind it is the essence and the omnipresent. I'm afraid to step foot on the ground. So I told him, yes. That's why some people can't even eat a vegetable, can't even eat meat and all that, but they saw this. But we are lucky. We have the Holy Prophet. And he said, follow my sunnah, the Quran and my sunnah. That means whatever I do, follow. Whatever I did, follow. So did he walk on the ground? Yes. So we walk. Follow his sunnah. Don't be afraid. Did he eat meat? Yes. Eat. Right? Did he drink water? Drink. Follow the sunnah. And that's why we have Sharia to help us there. Follow the sunnah. The Prophet said, I left you two references so that you won't go astray, the Quran and my sunnah. But this is the way it is when you come to understand the knowledge of God, it will change. And what Imam Ghazali say, after they have understood the knowledge of God, we will talk this later. Just as a brief summary because we have a lot of time. Okay. And Imam Ghazali say, after they possess the knowledge of God, what remains is for them to do worship ardently. Ardently. That means worship God with vigor, with zest, with zest and vigor. That is, I learn how to pray the proper way and so on. That's what Imam Ghazali. After you have this knowledge of God. But this is the basic knowledge into the spiritual world. This is one of the scholars, Muslim scholars, Said Sabik say, this is a starting point. Starting point. You are running a marathon. This is a starting point. The foundation, the starting point. Ma'rifatullah. There is a knowledge of God. That you change the higher level, higher than this, which much later we do, because I'll go slowly with you until we are very clear of the knowledge of God, then we go to further knowledge. But this knowledge of God is very important because once you knew, you change for the better. Change for the better that you no longer, people won't be afraid of you anymore like before, where you have anger management and whatnot, You're totally changed. And the people, your family, your friend will notice this first. And then the community. Slowly the community realize you are a different person. So that is the impact of the knowledge of God. Which the Quran say when they've seen the truth, tears will fall from their eyes. And they will say, oh God, write me among those who have seen the truth. We see that later in our lecture. So what you have to really absorb here is that everything that you see, that is the facade, the one-way mirror. Behind it is the omnipresent. The omnipresent that manifests become the essence, the first creation, obligatory creation, and then manifests, become the other creation, probable creation. Now when you see all this creation, whether it's obligatory or probable creation, you know is a manifestation of the omnipresent. So wherever you turn, feel the omnipresent watching at you. Feel it. Even when I was telling you at the beginning just now, I nearly broke down. Because when you feel it, you just can't contain yourself. Really, it brings shivers to you that he's watching you all the time, hearing all the time. cannot escape from him. There's not a place, a void, or anything that you can hide away. So remember this, the important here. Everywhere you turn, there is me, my container, the omnipresent. I'm there. I'm watching you. I'm hearing you. I'm listening to you. And that is why he said in the Quran, he's nearer than our jugular vein. Because he's encompassing everything. Nearer than our jugular vein. And he hears our dua and he fulfills them if need be. So it's important that if you try to reflect on what I've taught you tonight, and hope next week you'll be a better person because we're going deeper in this, further in. This is just still the outset, but this is the first step, the knowledge of God. Wherever you turn, there is me. Which Sharia can never understood this because they have dual existence. They see they are separate from God. Okay? But we don't. We say we are the manifestation of the omnipresent. Okay? We are different. So I will leave you here now and we'll meet you next week to bring you another step forward. Please, if you have not felt the impact of this knowledge, again, look deeply and understand properly what I say. Whatever you see, this is a one-sided mirror. It's the manifestation of the omnipresent. Behind this one-sided mirror or the manifestation, there is the omnipresent. And watching you all the time, hearing, witnessing what you are looking at, listening what you're inside your heart is encompassing all. And I hope you can see the truth that he's forever watching, hearing, listening, forever omnipresent. I hope you can see this. And I hope that change your life to be holistic. So I stop here and back to the coordinator. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.